Hey guys, what's going on? Polo Gaming here, bringing a brand new video where today we're round 2 at Imola, where today we're going to try and finish higher than where we did at Bahrain, which isn't going to be very hard because spoilers ahead, we did not finish. We had a little episode at turn 4. Here we are at qualifying, we're on our first run. As you saw, it is going to be wet later in the session, so we thought we'd go out early. Here's us banking our first lap. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good either. So minute 17.5, another run later on. This is towards the end of Q1, where we're coming around to start our lap. Now, it is raining. We are on dries, but our delta should still be able to go down throughout the lap. Once we start getting into more of those high-speed corners, being able to stick it, we should be pretty good. We should be on for a better time. As you see, we are P15. We should be able to make it through pretty comfortably anyway, so we probably could have aborted this lap and still got through to Q2. But as you see, as coming through turn 3 there, we have a little moment because of the rain, and we flip it into the wall. And due to that, yeah, we unfortunately didn't make it through to Q2. Now, we definitely had the speed this weekend to make it through to Q2, whether or not we would have gone any faster. But we're straight onto the race after that.
Hello there and welcome back to Imola, home circuit of the Scuderia Ferrari. We expect to see a lot of local supporters in red today. They've all turned out for what we have every expectation of being a sensational event here at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. 3.1 miles of track here at Imola, featuring 19 turns, 9 to the right and 10 to the left. Remember that Imola differs from most other Formula One circuits as it's driven anti-clockwise. Let's hope no one forgets that today. The exit from turn 18 will probably be the setup for many of today's overtakes, leading as it does into the longest straight of the circuit and its only DRS zone. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box. Ant, it's fantastic to have you with us here today, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, from the moment qualifying's over, you start to feel the adrenaline in your body build up and the buzz in your stomach as you anticipate the run down into turn 1. It's all a bit like going into battle, and the unknown situation makes you nervous. Those pre-race nerves are a good thing. The day you don't have them means that you don't care anymore. And of course, you have to make sure that all the procedures are second nature to you, so that they're not taking up too much of your capacity.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. It's Sergio Perez on pole position today, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Verstappen, Lando Norris and Ricciardo, Leclerc, Sainz, Gasly and Fernando Alonso, Vettel, Tsunoda, Lance Stroll and Ocon, Daniel, Raikkonen, George Russell and Antonio Giovinazzi, Latifi, Mick Schumacher, Mazepin and Daniel Ticktum. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
So as you saw there, our teammate actually got a grid penalty. Whether or not it was for an engine part or not, we do not know, but I would assume it would be for something fresh. But it's only round 2, so it's a bit strange unless he's just taken it out of the pool because he had a poor qualifying. But either way, we're sitting here, we're trying to work out our strategy. We're looking between, we're going to do a one stop obviously, but whether or not we go for the one stop from the softs to the mediums or the softs to the hards, we'll determine throughout the race. The time delta there is about 20 seconds, but well, we're going to try and do the one stop. 5 red lights, and away we go. And it's an okay start. It's not the best start. We're staying put where we are. Coming down to turn 1, we don't want to push our luck too much. We actually jump on the brake a little bit too early there, but then we make it up by releasing it. We jump the curb a little bit as Ocon hits us. That's only due to Raikkonen being on the inside as well, which I did not see at the time. So we're coming through the fast left-right chicane. And just gonna try and follow this train along. We dive up the inside of Raikkonen. We tapped the back end of Ocon. We've gone extremely aggressive, trying to make up some positions after we after that very average start, I would say. As we come through turn 9 now, on the back of Ocon, he's starting to pull a gap. We should be able to rein him in along with Stroll as well. We're not very good through the 11, 12, 13 corners, as you can see. We had a bit of practice, even though I didn't show that, but we went through a lot of the practice sessions, put about 10 or 15 laps into each practice session. As we're coming up to the two left-handers, we are slowly starting to gain back onto Ocon. We definitely should be able to catch Stroll pretty easily, him being on the mediums. But it will be just a waiting game to try and get him. As Ocon's recharging and we're using all our ERS to come down the side, we go very close to the wall there, as Ocon on the left side, the wall on the right side, as we're trying to pull the move on Stroll while also defending from Ocon. We're very late on the brakes there, very lucky to get that move done without causing any damage to us or Ocon. As we move on now, we're going to try and catch up to Alonso. As we drive off track, we go very wide there. Ocon gets a very good run on us. We dive it back up the inside. We make contact again with Ocon, and we continue on down to turn 9. But as you see, we have Perez, Bottas, and Max Verstappen all in the top 3 positions. As Lando's coming 4th, Lewis is 5th, which he's right on the back of Lando, but he's obviously Lando's obviously holding up Hamilton very big, as there's already a 2-second gap between him and Max. And as we move down the order a bit more, Pierre Gasly's up in P6, Danny Rick up in 7th, Charles Leclerc in 8th, Carlos Sainz, Sebastian Vettel, which rounds out the top 10. We're down in 13th, which isn't too bad, but now we're trying to chase down Fernando Alonso. And our teammate, unfortunately, is right down the bottom. He obviously did get a very good start away. He's made up 2 positions still, which still isn't too bad, but it's a choice of 2 evils. He's only passed the 2 Haas cars, but he is making grounds on the Alfa Romeo of Antonio Giovinazzi, as Bottas makes a brilliant move with that straight line speed and the tyre advantage on Checo as they go through turn 1. And our Max looks like he's trying to line up an attack on Perez, but for Red Bull that would be a pretty silly move, considering Perez is pretty comfortably in the lead of the championship at the moment, and they need to play the team game for the Constructors' Championship. Now we jump back on our POV as Alonso is attacking us. We must have got ahead going through turn 1 or the last turn. We pull very well off that corner of turn 7 into turn 9 very comfortably with a little bit of oversteer. We're going to come in here. We've already pulled half a second. Oh, sorry, that's Ocon. I thought it was Alonso. We pulled half a second on Ocon again as he's tried to attack us. We now move on to lap 7 where we're now getting attacked by Ocon. As he pulls on alongside us, going into turn 1. Can we outbrake him into the brake zone? We try, we go up the inside, we tap, and then that involves Stroll, and then we come around, and unfortunately, because we got on that curb on the inside, we just lit up the rear tyres, and that was it. And because of that incident, it pulled a safety car. So we're lucky in one way that the safety car got pulled, but as Bottas, Perez and Max come in, Lewis continues on because they obviously didn't want to double stack, but that is also involves Max is now blocking Bottas, and now when Max gets in, he's still going to be held up by all the traffic that's coming through, and he's going to be down in, what's it going to be, P3 or P4. So Stroll got ahead of him. Oh no, yeah, so Stroll got ahead of him and Perez. That's very interesting. So Lewis is all by himself up there that hasn't pit, and I'm pretty sure Stroll didn't pit, so that's us coming through with obviously no front wing, which is great, which means we will have to catch up the pack because they're obviously a long way down the track. We also got a 5-second penalty for spinning into the pit lane. That was one thing I was trying to practice throughout the weekend, but obviously a bit too keen to get in full tank of fuel, and no front wing, dead tyres. Yeah, it was it was just a mixture of bad things. But here we are, back on the restart, on lap 10. The safety car is going to pull in. Lewis is going to lead the pack away with a very hard charging Perez behind him, considering Lance hasn't pit. Perez has pit, and so has Bottas. Max all the way down in 10th after his pit stop, so he obviously got held up in the pit stop phase. Obviously being behind his teammate as Perez makes a move onto Lance Stroll, going into turn 1, but Stroll blocks it off very well as they go through turn 4. And is he going to try and make another move up into the fast left-right chicane? No, he's not. They're just going to go single file all the way through there, which isn't good for Perez, as Lewis is now starting to stretch. If he gets a good enough run on, he's going to have an overcut on Perez. Eventually, he will have a lot better tyre wear leading into the second phase of the race. So it'll be very interesting to see how all that plays out as Perez goes around the outside of Stroll. As easy as you like. And Bottas is going to try it up the inside. And does he get the job done? No, he doesn't. So you'll be behind Stroll for a little bit longer throughout this race. So as you see, Lando also nipping at the heels of Bottas there with Charles Leclerc, obviously not too far behind, obviously after the safety car restart. Everyone's going to be all bunched up, ready to go. Our teammates back up into 16th. I think we're in last or 21st, so we're very close to the back. I can't see here because, yeah, no, the list 20 cars. That's okay. As we come through to the last corner at the end of that safety car outlap, Bottas is going to make a move onto Stroll after already being, what's he now, 7/10 behind Perez. Obviously DRS is not enabled for another 2 laps, as Perez is already onto the back of Hamilton as well, as Bottas makes a beautiful move up the inside, but so does Lando Norris. Lando Norris is going to try and get the job done on Stroll. Does he get it done? He's still side by side with him going through turn 4, and he gets the job done. We jump back onto our POV on lap 14. We're finally caught back up to the back of Schumacher. So we've gone past Mazepin as a couple will come into the pits for their second pit stop. We're trying to stretch this as long as we can. We went onto the hards, so we're trying to make it to the end of the race on this set of tyres. As you can see, we're only about 15% tyre wear, which isn't too bad considering we came in on about lap 8 or 9. And yeah, the tyres will be able to get us to the end. We thought about diving it up the inside there, but we thought better of it. Would it compromise our exit? But we're going to try it up the inside here like we did on his teammate. We do make a little bit of contact. It's not the best place to overtake, but we felt very confident on the brakes as we just checked our vehicle condition, make sure that we didn't damage the side pod or any of our front end. But as you hear from Jeff, nothing was amiss. We jump a lap ahead, and now we're on the back of Latifi and Schumacher. We run a little bit wide into the gravel there, and we're just sitting behind, waiting, biding our time to get the job done as we pick up the throttle a little bit too early, but then Hamilton crashes into us. Hamilton hits us, spins it around. Alonso hits us as well. Wasn't really their fault though, as the safety car for the second time this race gets deployed. That was not anyone's fault but ours, as we just had a moment. We're back on the safety car restart. We obviously boxed for a new set of tyres. I think we went onto the mediums. Checo pulls away brilliantly, but Bottas is still right behind him with 2/10 gaining on him, and so does Lando right behind him. As we come through onto our POV of the safety car restart, we're trying to defend against Alonso, as we probably went a little bit too aggressive there to hold him off, but yeah, it was way too aggressive. We were just trying to get him to dive out of it. He didn't want to dive out of it. His nose was right there, and yeah, we made a slight bit of contact again. This race has been very dirty. Is probably one word of saying it, but we want to make up places and we want to get it done, because we do have that 5-second time penalty looming over our head, because obviously you can't take a 5-second time penalty under a safety car. So we're going to try and get as many positions as we can, and we need to climb as high as we can. But now Lewis is completely out of the race for the race win. And what's this? Bottas going slow through the last couple of corners. He is retiring. There's no doubt about that. He's lucky that he hasn't taken any cars out with him, as yeah, they all got really, really close to him. But yeah, that's Bottas's race out and done, so you'd almost put it down straight away for a 1-2 by Red Bull. But there is also the threat of Lando Norris as we drive past Bottas there. And going to try and drive past Mazepin like we did on Ocon, go through for that gap in between the car and the wall, and we absolutely just kill him on a straight line. That Mercedes power unit coming in handy as he tries to get us back by going up the inside into turn 1, but it wasn't very smart of him. But we also are coming up to yellow flags. So what's the yellow flags for? This is our teammate coming through turns 1 and 2 as he has a moment too with the oversteer. So I'm starting to wonder if it's a bit of a... we need to worry about a weight distribution in our chassis and start working on it with our R&D and put some money into the facilities. But as you see, he had a massive spin, just like we did. We turn onto lap 29, heading towards the end of the race. Obviously, we haven't had a lot of action because we have had a lot of mistakes. As we're pulling up to the back of our teammate, this may be the last overtake that we can get done for the race, as Latifi is 2.8 seconds ahead. We go to the left, we go to the right, we can't get past him. He's defending extremely well. We got DRS, using ERS, going to turn 1. He backs out of it, going into turn 2. So he decided to give us the place because he knew that I had a time penalty. So he decided just to sit back, relax, and not worry about us too much. And now our job is to try and pull away, which now onto the last lap. We're 1.6 seconds away from Tickman, and we're 1.5 seconds away from Schumacher. So if we can get Schumacher by the end of the race, it'd be pretty good, even though we know we have the time penalty. That's what we're aiming for, is to try to get P16 on the track, even if that demotes us down to P18. We don't have to worry about Mazepin because he's well and truly behind, as is Alonso too, so he must have had more troubles throughout the race besides us. Sergio and Max are on for a 1-2. Charles Leclerc is nowhere near Max, so that's going to be an easy 1-2. Danny Rick in 4th, which is absolutely amazing. Lewis Hamilton with a great recovery drive. You're going to be finishing in P5. And yeah, there we go. Sergio won the race. Max into P2. Charles coming over the line right now for P3. And then Danny Rick. Yeah, where did Lando go wrong? Because now he's in P9. He was fighting for a podium earlier on in the race. But as we're coming through turns 14 and 15, we couldn't quite get Mick on this lap, but we obviously didn't pull too much on Dickman either. The EE probably has similar tyre wear to us, and obviously he's in the same machinery, so he's still be able to go pretty quick. But we're going to come through, we're going to finish the race, which is the most important thing. We're going to finish P17 on track, but P18 overall, and you know what, I'll take that after Bahrain. We did really well in Bahrain, even though we had a few spins, we still made up some great places. Here we did the same thing, and well, it's off to Monaco. So if there's any problems at Monaco where we spin or anything like that, there's a very good chance we could end up in the wall there. So hopefully that doesn't come to that. I have a feeling that we'll have a pretty strong race now. We're starting to get to grips with the car and learning where its limitations are. I will be putting in a few laps of practice with Monaco, and then hopefully we can have a good qualifying, because it's obviously a high qualifying race. But besides that, we should be pretty good.
Congratulations to everyone at the team.
Yeah, we should be pretty good throughout that race if we can just stick to it, not try anything optimistic, and hope for the best. Now the standings, yeah, as you see, we finished P18. Tickman finished 17th, so it's probably not the end of the world. With Sainz and Bottas having DNFs, I don't remember Sainz retiring. But as you see, Perez very easily on top with 52 points. Red Bull are dominating so far with 70 points. They overtook Mercedes this weekend, obviously with Bottas not finishing the race, but Alfa Romeo have now jumped us because they've had better finishing positions. But hopefully we can change that soon. Hopefully we can take the charge to them and Alpine and Aston Martin. But thank you for watching, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.